any style of furniture and decor on any budget. Oh, and the best part? Free shipping on orders over $75. We thought you'd like that. Now, everything you need for your home is all in one place. Visit wayfair.ca today.
Wayfair, you've got just what I need.
We're not trying to actually increase demand. Demand is pretty high. What we're trying to do is ensure that it's the appropriate demand.
Buying a house in Toronto gets more expensive for foreign buyers. A 15% tax is on the way, part of a number of measures aimed at cooling the city's housing market.
Our province has an exceptional pool of talented, well-trained, highly skilled, and motivated workers.
Putting Albertans first in the workplace. The province unveils a program aimed at giving priority to local workers.
We're really going after an all-out warfare here against leukemia in the bone room, right at the source of where these cells come from. Using
video games to help kids with cancer. The story ahead of a doctor's touching tribute to a former patient. Canada's caribou population is under serious threat. And this morning, we're learning new details about a lawsuit an environmental charity has filed against the federal government. Tashana has the details. This is an interesting allegation, Tashana, that Ottawa is not doing enough to protect the species.
That's right, Heather. Well, let's go back to 2012, because that is when Ottawa and the provinces signed on to a plan to save the natural habitat of caribou and, of course, boost their population. Now, there's been no update in the last 4.5 years on the progress of this plan and whether or not the provinces will meet a deadline this fall. So the Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society has filed this lawsuit. They're a charitable organization, and they say that the government is breaking the law under the Act, which is the Species at Risk Act, which this whole agreement had been created under. We heard from Eric Hebert-Daly, and he is the National Executive Director of the organization, and he says the government is not holding up to their own standards. Take a listen.
Without that kind of reporting, it kind of leaves everybody in a bit of darkness about what's actually going on. It would be nice for you to use it. It is actually a piece of the Act that has never been put into place that really needs to be.
So under this act, it actually requires the government to report regularly. So every 6 months, there needs to be a published report on the status of caribou and the plan in place. Now, the Federal Environment Ministry did not respond to the lawsuit. They won't comment on it, but we know that the minister, Catherine McKenna, has said that they will have something in place by the deadline this fall. Heather?
So what is the suggestion in terms of how to do this, Tashana, how to protect the caribou habitat?
Well, this has been an ongoing issue. Caribou have been on the endangered list for quite some time now, many years, and it's industrial and development that really is the biggest threat. Of course, their natural habitat is in the boreal forest. Now, according to the Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society, they say that there was some progress last year in Saskatchewan. They were the only province that really made a strong commitment. They have set aside a certain amount of land, so about 2,000 square kilometers. This is a forest management plan that they have put into place with many different partners. And we also know that Quebec and Alberta have promised about 28,000 square kilometers, but right now there's no protection in those areas. So there's no indication that all of the provinces have looked at this and have a clear plan in place.
Tashana, thank you very much. Speaking of lawsuits, we've heard a lot lately about some of our appliances spying on us. Microwaves, toasters, think Kellyanne Conway. Scott Peterson, though, now we're talking headphones.
Yeah, this is a frightening one. This goes to the heart of what a lot of conspiracy theorists have the deepest fear of, and that is our headphones. Bose headphones in particular are tracking people. This has to do with a lawsuit from a Chicago resident saying that the headphones that he bought, he was encouraged to download an app to listen to this on his Apple player, but it could be with a Samsung product as well, or any Android. And basically he downloaded his name, his information, the serial number of the headphones in particular, and the lawsuit accuses Bose of taking that information, exactly what he's listening to, whether it's religious programming, whether it's music, whether it's news, and selling that to a third party. It's called data mining, and that's illegal. And so he's now taking out a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Bose. But the implications here are incredible, Heather. When you think about it, it's like everything you think you're doing in private, in the privacy of your headphones, is potentially being tracked and sold to third parties. So this will be an interesting development. And you're right. I mean, this goes to the heart of what a lot of people fear.
You're watching closely the markets for us today. Let's look to the futures. How are they trading?
Lots of conspiracy theorists out there, but they are looking somewhat positive, but this could change. We're waiting for U.S. job numbers, and that could skew the numbers one way or the other. But there's one thing, the market, it's always fair, no conspiracy here. So we've got the Dow futures up 41 points. We've got the price of oil recovering from a 4% drop yesterday and higher than expected. Gasoline inventories up 36 cents, but it's $51 and change, well below about $54 where it was yesterday. The Canadian dollar as well had been positive, is now turning negative, but this will change depending on those U.S. job numbers, Heather.
Scott, thank you very much. From tragedy comes inspiration, a new video game that could help cancer patients visualize how their treatment works. Next on Morning Live, we're going to speak to the doctor who developed the game in memory of a young patient. We'll tell you how he's crowdfunding to get it finished. You're watching CBC News Network.
Paul Davis. We're not a name you need to know all the time. Water, fire, and storms cause serious property damage. When it happens to you, it's no time for second best. That's why insurance professionals have been trusting Paul Davis for over 50 years. The journey back requires skill, urgency, and experience. That's Paul Davis. People serving people. When it happens, call Paul Davis, because this is no time for second best.
Hey, Jerry, what's up? You look stressed.
Oh, problems with our international shipping as usual.
What, still?
Yep, but I'm doing my best not to let it get to me.
Is it working?
No, it's not.
What about switching to FedEx? It's the reliable way to ship internationally.
Your path is now clear.
Oh, thank you, Guru.
Some things in life you can expect, but others are completely unexpected. That's why there's FlexCare Health and Dental Insurance Plans from Manulife to help cover your expected and unexpected medical expenses. From dental checkups to dental emergencies, regular prescription drugs to life-saving medication, a monthly massage to rehabilitation treatments. Get flexible coverage to help meet your needs. See why 1 in 3 Canadians trust Manulife coverage. Call 1-855-529-7859 to get your free, no-obligation quote. Talk to our licensed insurance advisors today and get coverage in as little as 7 minutes. Coverage that starts on day 1. Visit coverme.com/flexcare or call 1-855-529-7859 today.
Life taught me to always have a clear vision. Realize timing is key. Be willing to push yourself. Trust technology to support you. But make sure you stay in control. And remember, the biggest competitor is yourself.
It's Johnny Harris. Season 2 of Still Standing has turned out to be a big success, and that's because you watch it. So thanks so much for that. Not only, in case you never heard, we're doing a season 3. In fact, here's a little sneak peek.
What the F? A wolf call? Can you call back and ask them to cancel? Amazing! We're whizzing between the trees. I've never experienced anything like it in my life. I mean, I've whizzed between trees, you know what I mean? But
the new season of Still Standing returns this summer on CBC.
There you see a big leukemia cell up ahead in that blue amidst the red blood cells. So we pull out our chemotherapy syringe and fire away at it and it blows up.
This is far more than a game.
We can make this virtual reality. It can be multiplayer. Other friends and family or other strangers can even help the patient fight their own cancer.
It's a way for cancer patients to fight back and see how they heal.
We're trying to do everything we can think of to help patients get through this journey better.
It's called Kate's Crusade. And this is Kate, an 11-year-old girl who lived life to the fullest and inspired her doctor to help his patients make the best of every day. Kate's doctor is my guest this morning, Dr. Timothy Kripe, who's a pediatric oncologist at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Washington. Dr. Kripe, good morning to you.
Good morning.
We're going to talk about the game that you have devised, but I have to start by asking about Kate, because we're going to look at some beautiful pictures of the two of you together, your patient, whom you lost. But of all the children you meet and all the children you treat, what's special about this Kate?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, I only knew Kate for a few months before she passed away, but she really had a spark, a joie de vivre. She was, had a way of enjoying life despite her circumstances. It really shone through in the first moments that I met her. So, it was something very inspiring.
Inspiring to do something in tribute to her, to devise this video game. Now, why is a video game a fitting tribute?
Well, a video game is something that a lot of kids her age love to do, obviously. Gaming is a really huge industry these days. And it's a way that I think patients can communicate with each other and also to learn about their own cancer. And the other key feature is, the imagery that comes with a video game. I think patients really don't have a very good understanding in general of what's going on inside their body. It's very hard to visualize. The doctor might put up an MRI scan on the screen and show them, but it's a two-dimensional static image. Doesn't show you much, and it's hard to visualize. But if you can get a three-dimensional view and fly around something and really get a good look at it, I think you can imagine what's in there much better. And, there was a lot of work in the 60s and 70s and 80s about imagery and in cancer fighting from Carl Simonton's work, and he claimed that you could actually improve the outcome with good mental imagery and of course positive thinking, and I certainly believe that. So I think this is a way to help patients get through their cancer journey.
Well, as you've been talking about it, and we've been showing the video obviously on screen, and it speaks to exactly what you're talking about. There's the beating heart. So are these the doctor's hands or are these the patient's hands reaching out?
The idea is those are the patient's hands. So for those of you my age may remember Fantastic Voyage, where you could shrink and fly through the body, and it's sort of my son, who's helping me with this project, when I use that reference, he says it dates me. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. But, that gives you the sense of, so that's the patient's hands. It's from the patient's perspective that they can go in there and actually do the fighting themselves.
Well, obviously, we know how this game ends with a big win, hopefully, and hopefully a cure and a positive outcome. But there they are as they fight those cancer cells on their way to health. It's so interesting because you're trying to bring this to market, I guess, or bring it in release with the help of crowdfunding and a Kickstarter program, which has been a little slow so far. Tell me a little bit about what you need in order to make this more accessible.
Well, like everything, we need money, but we have a lot of enthusiasm. Everyone that hears about it loves it. So we've got the energy. What we need is the funding. We don't want to skimp on it. We want to make it a fantastic game. We want to have great graphics. We want to have, state-of-the-art technology built in, and we want to have flexibility so that we can adapt to any individual patient. If they have a cancer in their lung or in their bone, we can, in fact, I can imagine someday where we actually maybe scan in a PET scan or a CAT scan or at least access the data from that and precisely map a patient's tumor in their body. So we think that there's a lot of potential here. We also want the game to emulate what the journey is really like for a patient. So if they are hitting their red blood cells with the chemotherapy too much and they get anemic, a doctor will pop up on the screen and say, you're having trouble breathing, you need a blood transfusion, and give them instructions about how to do that so that when they actually have to do that in real life, they know why and they know what it's all about. So it